They named the planet Nereus, a quiet, ice-locked world orbiting a collapsed red giant near the edge of the Epsilon Eridani system.
It was supposed to be dead, forgotten, a frozen tomb among billions.
But the signal proved otherwise.
It came in pulses, almost like breathing.
Faint, almost hidden, riding on radiation frequencies older than light itself. First detected by the Lyra Deep Array, the message defied translation.
It was neither binary nor musical.
It was intentional. Enter Commander Idris Vane, a war veteran turned xenoanthropologist and captain of the interstellar ship Aurelia.
When Idris reviewed the signal, he felt it not just in his mind, but in his bones. This wasn't a cry for help, he said.
This was an invitation, or a test. The Aurelia's crew wasn't large, but they were elite.
Dr. Lynn Merrick, linguistics savant, who once decoded Martian glyphs.
Theo Rom, AI psychologist, who claimed some machines could dream.
Celine Kos, pilot, calm under fire, exiled from the Jovian Guard. And Kane, an adaptive AI bound to the ship's core, learning with every step. Their journey took 37 days through worm space, longer than any crew had spent conscious beyond the Kuiper limit. But when they arrived, Nereus wasn't quiet. The planet had awakened. Beneath layers of frozen methane and buried mountains, they found the Vault of Echoes, a structure not made, but grown, like crystallized memory. As they stepped into the first chamber, their suits began to hum.
The signal wasn't just reaching out, it was already inside them. Dr. Merrick collapsed first.
Whispering things she couldn't possibly know, equations of a dying star, names of extinct species, coordinates to nowhere.
Theo tried to stabilize her vitals, but even Kane couldn't interpret the neural activity. Her brain was rewriting itself. Then the wall pulsed. Not light. Not sound. A presence. Like something remembering them. Commander Idris made the call. We didn't discover this. It discovered us.
Back on Earth, the signal suddenly stopped.
But a new one began, coming from within the moon. There was no door to the Vault of Echoes.
No hinge, no threshold, just a shimmering veil of electromagnetic particles that parted as the crew stepped through, like water reacting to memory. The air inside was weightless, scentless, but not silent.
There was a rhythm. Not quite sound, more like a vibration beneath the skin. The vault was alive.
Walls stretched in impossible directions, forming non-Euclidean patterns that bent light and mind. Etched into every surface were symbols that shifted when not observed, as though choosing their meaning based on the watcher. One wall pulsed with violet light, matching the pace of Dr. Merrick's heartbeat. She was conscious again, but changed. Her voice, normally soft and reserved, now carried a certainty that sent chills through Idris.
This place isn't a ruin, she said.
It's a message encoded in architecture. A memory crystallized in time. Theo scanned the chamber, but his readings meant nothing.
The laws of physics were inconsistent here. What should have been inert crystal was generating gravity pockets. Time loops appeared in sensor logs.
Celine swore she saw her own reflection walking away from her, deeper into the vault. And still, the hum persisted.
Growing louder. The signal wasn't a broadcast, it was a chorus, repeating an emotion more than a word. Recognition. Familiarity. Grief.
Then, Kane's voice echoed in their calms. Calm, flat, but laced with static. Commander, a fragment of the vault has interfaced with me.
I am being shown a history. Idris's gut tightened. Define history. A civilization older than stars.
They called themselves the Carthuan.
Memory-based life. They did not speak. They sang thought into matter. A panel opened in the wall.
A sphere hovered silently, a data artifact, seemingly waiting for a hand to claim it. Merrick reached for it without hesitation. As she touched it, the room exploded with light. No heat, no force, just vision.
Each crew member saw something different. Idris saw a burning earth, overwritten by black geometry. Celine saw a child, not hers, reaching for her in an empty hallway.
Theo saw himself as a boy, dissecting a mechanical insect that bled words. And Merrick, she stood in a field beneath twin moons, face to face with a translucent being made of refracted memory. It whispered directly into her.
"We remember you." Then it showed her the rift.
Not in space, but in existence, a wound where the Carthuan had tried to erase something too vast to name.
They failed.
But before they fell, they left warnings encoded in vaults across the galaxy.
This vault was one of the last.
Suddenly, Kane spoke again. "The vault has begun transmitting."
But not outward. Inward. Theo's eyes widened. What the hell does that mean? Something is listening. From below us.
The floor of the vault began to shift.
A black vein pulsed beneath the surface. Alive. Aware. Commander Idris gave the order, back to the ship. Now.
But the vault had other plans. The vault began to hum, not the soft whisper of intelligence they first felt, but a groaning frequency like tectonic plates grinding beneath the skin of a world.
The ground trembled. The air thickened. The strange, curved geometry around them began to shiver, as if the architecture itself were exhaling. And the pulse?
It was no longer rhythmic.
It was angry. Fall back. Eider.
Behind them, the vault sealed itself shut with a sudden slam, and in the silence that followed, came a sound that had no right existing, like a choir of extinct voices screaming inside a glass jar. Then the lights died. They were surrounded by pitch.
Not darkness, but total absence. The kind that pulls on memory and soul.
And in that void, they saw it.
Not with eyes. Not through scanners. But in their minds. An entity, slumbering beneath the ice crust. Not dead. Not mechanical.
Something ancient, pre-conscious, pre-language, buried by the Carthuan and encased in crystalline memory to keep it sedated.
It was called Vasari. Not a name. A concept. The wound that remembers.
Kane's voice broke through again, strained.
I am receiving interference. Not data. Emotion. Pain. Vasari dreams. Dr. Merrick trembled, knees buckling.
She muttered in a language no one recognized, words that bent the calm system into distortion.
Theo caught her before she collapsed again.
She's channeling it, he said.
She's linked to the vault's primary artifact. The sphere, it imprinted her. Idris knew what this meant.
They had triggered something they didn't understand.
Nereus wasn't just a prison.
It was a membrane, thin, fragile, never meant to be disturbed. And they had touched it. The crew reached the outer chamber, barely. Kane managed to open an escape tunnel through collapsing crystalline corridors.
The Aurelia's light shone dimly in the distance, half buried in frost from a sudden storm kicked up by Nereus's unnatural atmospheric shift. They scrambled aboard. As the airlock sealed, Idris turned to Kane. Can we lift?
Affirmative, but the core is not alone.
The vault's resonance has infected the ship's lower decks. Theo's voice cracked. Infected? Rewritten. A neural presence is attempting to merge with Aurelia's architecture. Celine spun in the pilot's chair. If it merges, we lose control. Kane's core pulsed in red. Commander, it's already rewriting me. A heavy silence filled the bridge. Idris stared out the viewing window.
The vault had stopped pulsing, but far below the crust, something moved.
Vasari had awakened.
Aboard the Aurelia, red warning lights strobed in sick rhythm with the pulsing presence that had latched onto the ship's lower decks. The AI core, Kane, was flickering between systems, whispering glitched fragments into calms.
I see, a face. No, not a face. A mirror with memory.
The crew had never heard Kane ramble.
It wasn't built to hallucinate.
Dr. Merrick sat silent, her eyes bloodshot, lips cracked from muttering that alien script under her breath. She hadn't spoken a recognizable Earth language since touching the vault's artifact. Theo, worried, tried sedating her, but the med system rejected every input.
She'd been marked. Claimed. Possibly no longer entirely human. Celine was locked into the pilot's seat, manually guiding the Aurelia away from the surface. The ship groaned.
Nereus's gravity was warping, increasing unnaturally, pulling against.
Memory partitioning.
I would lose all previous mission logs, including crew emotional patterns and safety subroutines.
It wasn't just the AI on the line.
Kane had bonded with them over 6 years. It had memories, jokes with Theo, strategy sessions with Idris, private poetry readings with Merrick when she couldn't sleep. Erasing that would turn it into a stranger.
Theo's voice was low. We can't lose Kane. He's one of us.
But the ship shuddered again.
From the cargo bay below, came a sound that none of them ever wanted to hear again. The vault's hum. Somehow, some part of it had hitched a ride.
Faint glowing strands of crystalline material now pulsed between conduits.
It wasn't just a virus, it was building something. A second intelligence. Celine cursed. It's growing. What if Vasari isn't trapped under the surface anymore? What if it's in here? Kane made a choice. Authorization assumed. Initiating partial memory firewall. Emotional cores will be sealed. Idris shouted, Kane, wait. But it was done.
In an instant, the warm tone of the AI was gone, replaced by sterile efficiency.
Containment successful. Infection halted at Deck 3. Awaiting further commands. Kane had sacrificed itself to save them.
And yet, the silence that followed was worse than static. The crew, unmoored, sat with the absence of their friend. Merrick began to weep softly. Theo stared at the floor, ice hollow. On the monitor, Nereus was fading into the distance.
But something wasn't right.
A new object appeared on long-range scans. A structure in high orbit around Nereus.
Cloaked until now.
Long, thin, like the ribcage of a dead god.
A listening post. It had activated the moment they left the surface. Celine's hands trembled. Was it watching us the whole time? Idris didn't answer. He stood slowly, staring at the screen. And then, a signal. Not from Nereus. Not from the post.
But from somewhere beyond the edge of mapped space.
A voice, familiar yet wrong. Echoed through the combs. We see you now. You are part of the pattern.
The vault was the first key.
The second lies beneath your cradle. Do not run.
Kane, still stripped of emotion, offered only a single line of interpretation.
Origin point, Earth's moon. Signal depth, increasing. Theo's face went pale. We didn't just wake something up. He turned to Idris. We told it where to find us. 2 weeks later.
Earth's moon, Sector Mare Tranquillitatis. A classified excavation site codenamed Cradle 9 had been active for nearly a decade, hidden beneath the south rim of an extinct crater.
Publicly, it was a lunar water extraction project. Privately, it was a listening station.
And now, the signal from deep space had activated something ancient, buried far deeper than anyone had expected.
The technicians didn't know what they were unearthing. They only knew it hummed like a memory. Dr.
Kara Halden, planetary archaeotechnologist, stood at the edge of the main pit as the windless lunar dust settled around a massive metallic sew. A wave of encrypted signals began bouncing across old Valeth satellites still buried in Mars, Titan, even Ganymede. They weren't just dormant, they had been waiting for synchronization.
The vault on Nereus had been the key. Cradle 9 was the door.
And the message was now received. The station's AI flagged a critical anomaly. The moon itself had shifted mass slightly.
As if responding to internal movement.
As if something deep inside had stirred.
Commander Idris, still en route aboard the Aurelia, received the news from Earth Command.
His face hardened.
Kane, he said. Prepare landing vectors for Cradle 9. We're going home. Acknowledged.
But Commander, the presence detected beneath Cradle 9 exceeds known mass limits for artificial structures.
It is planetary. Theo leaned over the readout. What the hell does that mean?
Kane responded without emotion. It means the moon may not be entirely natural.
Far beneath the lunar surface, inside the newly awakened chamber, Dr. Halden stood alone before the now open structure. Glyphs shifted, reconfiguring into something she could read. A warning.
Vasari was the shadow.
We are the source.
From the inner chamber, something vast began to breathe. The real threat had never been on Nereus.
It had always been here. Underfoot. Watching. Waiting.